The opening scene shows our protagonist Gabriel inside a confessional. He talks about his traumatic past, where he had to end the life of his mother's abuser. He talks about how he had to raise his sister on his own, and how he sees so many horrible things, which is making him lose faith. He urges the priest to tell him something, anything that would keep his faith, but there is no response. It's not even clear if anyone is listening to him. A short scene shows the point of view of a specter entering Gabriel's home, observing his girlfriend, Emma, and then it moves inside the house to a different room where it observes Gabriel's sister, Celeste. The next morning, Gabriel wakes up, and Emma informs him that they need to go to Milda's house to keep her company. Gabriel doesn't like this idea, but they need the money, so he heads out to get their car. Outside, Gabriel has a brief interaction with a disabled man named Bertie, but this conversation doesn't really have to do anything with the plot, so let's skip this. The trio drives to Milda's home, a woman who no longer has relatives looking after her, so she pays people to visit her sometimes. When they get there, Milda seems to be talking to someone. The first thing she does is order Gabriel to clean her front yard, and he obliges, but his expression clearly shows he doesn't want to be there. Inside, Milda treats the two women to lunch. The old lady compliments Celeste for growing up a fine lady. She adds that Celeste's deceased mother would have been proud of her. When Celeste expresses how she wishes she could see her mother again, Milda makes a strange comment. She reveals that sometimes she can communicate with people who are no longer alive, a statement that gives Celeste a sense of hope. Outside, Gabriel meets a certain Joseph, who points to Gabriel's cross necklace. Joseph implies that Milda won't be happy seeing that thing around his neck. Perhaps this is why she didn't welcome him inside. Milda, seeing this interaction from the window, seethes with anger. The girls calm her down, urging her to see the good in people. Later that night at Gabriel's apartment, Emma receives a call from a certain Ernesto. He informs her that Milda has just passed away, and he needs her and Celeste to come to the funeral as soon as possible. Naturally, this comes as a shock to her, given how they were just talking to the old lady earlier that day. The next day at the funeral, the only people in attendance are Emma, Celeste, and Gabriel. Emma delivers the eulogy, and this is where we find out more lore about Milda. It turns out that this isn't Milda's first time kicking the bucket. Apparently, she came back to life once. Milda perished as a nun back then, but after her resurrection, she shunned her faith and developed her own beliefs. The eulogy is interrupted by Ernesto. He introduces himself and informs Emma that she has some paperwork to sign. Milda, before passing away, wrote in her will that she wanted Emma to inherit her home. Back at Milda's house, Ernesto opens the envelope with a scythe-like cutter, a gift from Milda. Suddenly, the house phone starts ringing, which is odd. Ernesto tells them it's just one of Milda's many friends who occasionally call her. Ernesto insists on taking the call himself. Once Ernesto finishes the brief call, he returns to the table and explains that one of Milda's conditions on her will was for Emma to continue chatting with anyone who called the house phone. Furthermore, the last stipulation specifically says that Gabriel is not allowed to live or stay in the house with Emma. Of course, our protagonist expresses his shock and opposes such a crazy condition. Gabriel insists they leave immediately, but Celeste doesn't want to. She wants to stay in that house for the night. To calm Gabriel down, Ernesto says that he's willing to ignore some parts of the condition just so they can finish signing the papers. However, seconds later, Ernesto admits he has forgotten the preamble, and it's all the way back in his house. Even when Gabriel offers Ernesto a ride so he can get the missing papers, Ernesto insists that they should call it a night and he will come back tomorrow. Meanwhile, Celeste enters Milda's room. She cries while holding the deceased woman's robe. It's obvious that she was very close to Milda, and she already misses her so much. She also sees a notebook on top of a drawer, and opening it, Celeste sees a creepy drawing. Gabriel appears behind her and scolds her for entering the room of the deceased. Celeste insists that she wants to be in that room and pushes her brother out. She continues to lie in bed and cry, grieving the passing of a dear friend. Later, Gabriel sees Emma inspecting something at the basement entrance. He gets upset when she starts going down the basement, insisting she come back up. When she tries to get him to join her downstairs, he gets even more upset. This is when Gabriel admits that in the past, he had to bury his mother and her abuser, whom he murdered, down a basement. It's a place that makes him remember his traumas. At night, while sleeping, Gabriel wakes up because of a noise. He goes to the kitchen to grab a knife for self-defense. Emma comes out of the bedroom and bumps into him. She calms him down, saying she didn't hear any noise, and urges him to put the knife back in the rack. The next morning, Ernesto comes knocking. While he already has the papers ready, he's there for something else. There's a nearby art gallery, and he wants Emma to take over for a few days. Being an artist herself, Emma is elated to be given the opportunity. Oddly enough though, when Gabriel attempts to come with them, he mentions how he has only limited space in his car. He adds that Gabriel should just wait for them to come back. Bored, Gabriel decides to look around the house. He finds a weird book with a pentagram etching on the side, which makes it seem more like a grimoire than a normal book. He doesn't open it yet, choosing to put it back where he found it. Gabriel instead goes and checks on his sister. He apologizes for arguing with her the other night, but Celeste just wants to be alone, so he lets her be. Meanwhile, the house phone rings, so Gabriel answers it. Since he's not the one who should be answering these calls, all he hears is static noise. Gabriel then proceeds to the kitchen, checking out the contents of the fridge. He finds a bag of mussels. Since his girlfriend is allergic to mussels, he throws them in the trash. The phone rings again, but this time, Celeste is there to answer it. Gabriel still takes the phone away from her. All he hears from the other end is a threat. The caller wants him to leave if he doesn't want other people in the house to get hurt. Pissed, Gabriel slams the phone down, not taking the threat seriously. Later, Emma and Ernesto return, and Gabriel is surprised to find out that the paperwork has already been taken care of. In the kitchen, Emma tries convincing Gabriel to go back to their apartment and allow her to stay in the house for a few more days. However, Gabriel is unwavering. He wants to be by her side. That night, Celeste is reading the satanic book, and beside her is Milda. She doesn't seem scared. In fact, Celeste seems happy. Back in the couple's room, Gabriel notices that Emma is gone, so he tries to find her. He eventually finds her at the entrance of the basement, eating mussels that she's supposed to be allergic to, the same ones that Gabriel threw in the trash before. Turns out she's just sleepwalking. Gabriel repeatedly tells her to wake up, but she's too deep in her sleepwalk. The next day, Emma acts indifferent towards Gabriel. Even while driving him to the church, Emma is giving her boyfriend the cold shoulder. A small argument ensues, and Emma is mad that Gabriel is not yielding to her request. All Gabriel wants is to make sure she and Celeste are safe. Emma retorts, saying that Gabriel is the one posing a danger to them. Meanwhile, back at the house, Celeste is looking for Milda, or her spirit for that matter. She eventually finds the old lady hiding under a large blanket. However, this time, Milda's eyes are blackened, her appearance hostile. Celeste is terrified and screams her lungs out. When Gabriel goes inside the church, he meets Father James. Gabriel mentions being new in town and brings up how his girlfriend inherited a house. As soon as he says this, Father John arrives, and Father James's demeanor changes. Father James tells Gabriel to come back some other time, so the young man takes his leave. As soon as Gabriel arrives back at the house, the phone rings. Instead of answering, he unplugs the phone and heads straight to the bookshelf to look for the grimoire. This time, Gabriel opens it, revealing what could be satanic instructions. While doing so, Milda's ghost walks behind him. Despite his trauma, Gabriel goes down to the basement looking for his sister. Instead of bringing a flashlight, he just uses the flame from his lighter. He hears a noise coming from above and panics, causing him to rush back up. Gabriel then walks to the front door and sees Ernesto. He asks the older man where his sister is. According to Ernesto, Celeste has already left the house. Ernesto brings up the contract stipulations again, suggesting that Gabriel leave the house as soon as that night. Naturally, despite Ernesto offering to arrange travel arrangements, Gabriel vehemently refuses. Suddenly, the house phone rings again. Even though it was already disconnected, Ernesto slowly brings out his mini scythe, but Gabriel notices this. Before the older man can attack, Gabriel intercepts his hand and ends up stabbing Ernesto with the sharp object, immediately ending his life. Out of shock, Gabriel hastily disposes of Ernesto's body by burying it in the backyard. He does his best to clean up the mess before Emma returns. Upon arrival, Emma confirms that Celeste was taken back to their apartment by Ernesto. When she asks where that man is, Gabriel lies, saying he has no idea. But Emma notices that Gabriel is feeling uneasy. The phone rings and Emma answers it while the cord is still unplugged. The caller is Ernesto, which leaves Gabriel in disbelief. It's a call from beyond the grave. That night, Gabriel tries calling Celeste, but all he hears is static noise. Then, he starts exploring Milda's room. Emma enters the room, wondering what he's doing. When he says he's going to contact the police, Emma shows him a text sent by Celeste, hoping to ease his mind. A while later, Gabriel is unable to sleep properly, so he steps out and checks the shallow grave where he buried Ernesto and confirms that the body is still there. The next day, after Emma finishes with one of the regular calls, she asks Gabriel if there is anything he wants to tell him. Perhaps she already knows what her boyfriend did to Ernesto, and she just wants him to confess. However, Gabriel pretends not to know what she's talking about. Seconds later, Gabriel checks the photo album near the phone and sees a newspaper clipping containing the plot twist of this movie. It turns out that Ernesto, Milda, and Father John are all people who have come back from beyond the grave. They were accused of holding special funerals for people who society deems evil, like murderers. Gabriel immediately goes to the church to confront Father John. The priest is not welcoming of Gabriel, shutting down the boy's attempt at communication. The priest gets upset when Gabriel suggests that Milda's home needs to be cleansed because it's corrupted. He accuses Gabriel of being blasphemous and slandering Milda. The priest hints that he knows of Gabriel's past and current crimes. Then he lets out one last shout, telling Gabriel to get out of the church. On his way out, Gabriel meets Father James. The priest listens to Gabriel's concern and looks at the book he brought. At first, Father James dismisses the book as harmless, holding no power. However, as soon as he flips through one specific page, his mood drastically shifts. Father James recognizes the names written on the page with the pentagram. Those are all names of people whom Father John personally buried. The priest starts talking about the rumor that was tied to Milda, a rumor that he now believes might be true. Milda helped people who were destined to go to the lowest level of hell once they perished. She allowed them to escape their punishment. Thus, all their names are listed in the book. They are the callers. Basically, since Milda is gone, a new person must become the voice of the shadows, and right now, that is Emma. By finishing the conditions on the contract, Milda can take over her body. Father James tells Gabriel to run and go as far as he can, but our protagonist, as stubborn as ever, insists on saving his girlfriend and sister. Gabriel quickly drives back to Milda's house only to find the front door locked. He shouts Emma's name, wanting to get in. However, she can't hear him. She's too busy painting while wearing Milda's old dress. Gabriel goes to a window near her, and she finally sees him, but her reaction is odd. She chooses to slowly walk further inside the house, rather than let him in, so Gabriel forces his way in, axe in hand. He sees Emma standing, menacingly, so he approaches slowly, but she quickly walks away right before he can get close. He follows her down the basement, and again uses a lighter instead of actually getting a darn flashlight. This results in him having to turn the lighter on several times until a specter gets a chance to approach him and pull him deeper into the darkness. However, just when we thought it was all over for Gabriel, a door leading outside opens, and he manages to get out with Emma. She is now conscious and back to her usual self. There is a torch placed outside, probably by Joseph, which is the reason the specter let them go. It's not clearly explained, to be honest. The couple manages to get back to their apartment. While Emma is sound asleep, Gabriel is wide awake, thinking about how he can rescue his sister. He informs Emma that he will go back to the haunted house to save Celeste. Back at the church, Father James hears loud thuds, so he investigates where the noise is coming from. This leads him to the altar where Father John is, but he is no longer himself. The eyes blackened, the priest is now possessed. The next day, Gabriel and Emma prepare to head out. He's going to take her to his local priest to get her checked. Emma decides to take a shower first, but when Gabriel goes to check on her a few minutes later, she's nowhere to be found. When Gabriel goes outside, his car is gone, which means Emma took it. Fortunately, his neighbor Bertie arrives and lets Gabriel borrow his car. Emma arrives at the church and meets Father John. The one controlling her body is now Milda, and together the two head back to the house to finish an evil ritual. Father John performs an adorcism on Emma, which is the opposite of an exorcism. Meanwhile, Gabriel arrives at the church as well, and sees Father James's lifeless body. The next thing he does is break into Milda's house and smash the ringing phone with an axe. The house suddenly starts sealing its exits by itself, trapping Gabriel inside. He eventually spots his sister and slowly follows her into Milda's room. Once inside, Celeste emerges from the shadows and attacks Gabriel with a sharp object. Out of nowhere, Joseph barges in and grabs Celeste, while also handing Gabriel a torch. Gabriel uses this torch to burn the creepy book near the drawer. This results in his sister being freed from whatever is possessing her. Joseph carries Celeste out of the house and gives Gabriel some words of encouragement. The flames of the torch contain powers that can fight the evils in the house. It's now up to Gabriel to finish the fight. As Gabriel prepares to head to the basement, he notices something off about a nearby cabinet. Turns out there's a secret entrance behind it that leads into a bigger underground space. Gabriel carefully explores the area, ready to fight. It's a good thing he has a good light source now. After a jump scare from Milda, Gabriel hears Emma's cries somewhere nearby. He then enters another room, hoping to find his girlfriend. He finally comes face to face with Milda again. This time she starts spewing nonsense, talking smack about God. Gabriel delivers a swift strike to the old lady's abdomen with his axe, ending up taking the ghost down immediately. Critical hit. Gabriel gets distracted and picks up a phone behind him, and when he turns back around, a possessed Emma stabs him in the stomach. She then starts reciting satanic chants, hoping to turn Gabriel into another vessel for possession. Gabriel remembers what Father James said a while back about the power of the pentagram, so he pulls out the knife from his stomach and starts slicing his palm until the wounds form a pentagram. Then he dips his hand into the flame, causing Milda's spirit to leave Emma's body. Emma regains consciousness only to witness Gabriel expiring. The movie ends with Milda's spirit rushing to Father John's body, implying that she will still linger in the mortal realm.